Hello and welcome to another episode of Rapidly Aging Tech. Today, I'm going to be upgrading my main computer slightly. As it stands now, its main boot drive is a 1 terabyte Western Digital Velociraptor, and the secondary storage drive is a 500 gig Western Digital Caviar Blue. So not the standard blue now, the older version. Now, some of you may be wondering why there are no SSDs mixed into this. I'm sort of a weird old fuddy-duddy in that when I have a computer that is actively used and important, my main machine, I still like traditional hard drives. It might not make any sense, but there you go. And the Western Digital Velociraptor is a pretty good drive for that. Anyway, I'm replacing that second hard drive, that 500 gig, with another Western Digital Velociraptor, which is right here. This is just a heat sink that was given to me by my dad a long time ago, along with an old Pentium chip. I don't think it was necessarily went with it. It was just some scraps he had. Here's the Pentium. Sorry about the lighting here. Let's see the back of that. I don't know if this chip still works. It probably does, but it's just been floating around. Anywho, since what we're going to do with this drive is going to require a lot of activity, it's probably going to get a bit warm, and the heatsink actually is absorbing heat from it, even through the sticker. As you may not know, the Velociraptor, I'm not going to rotate this much because the computer is on. The Velociraptor is a 2.5-inch drive in a 3.5-inch heatsink. 10,000 RPM, some of the fastest hard drives out there. They're now getting surpassed by the Western Digital Black 6 terabyte and up due to data density, or platter density. But they're still a good performer. They've been discontinued for a while. I hope Western Digital decides to bring them back. Maybe a Western Digital Velociraptor Black or something. Anywho, this is the second drive I've recently purchased for this. The first one turned out to be bad. Both came from this company, Tech Solutions. They're on Amazon. And as soon as I told them that the other drive was bad, they were very quick in sending out another one. It would refuse to format to be a master boot record drive. And even when you did GPT, it would not format quickly. You had to do a slow format, and then eventually got the click of death real quickly. So that's sad. Anywho, what we're going to be doing is cloning my secondary drive onto this one and then replacing them out. The program I'm going to be using today is Macrium Reflect. This program was recommended to me online because some people have said a Acronis True Image will do some funny things to the master boot record or whatnot. I've used Acronis in the past and it worked, but this was another free program. Might as well try it. So right now we have the second hard drive, the 500 gig, selected. We're going to do the clone this disk down to the new one here. And I haven't used this before, so we'll see how it works. Alright, so we've selected the 500 gig, and then we've selected that it's going to clone to the new Western Digital Velociraptor. I'm going to delete an existing partition because there's nothing on there. I just partitioned it and tested it to see if the drive was good, and it appears to be good at the moment. Now we're going to hit next. We're not going to do a schedule. I don't know why you would. Well, let's see what the advanced options are. Okay, we don't need to enable SSD trim. I think we'll try the intelligent sector copy. All right, we're just dinking around in the options, and we are starting the process. Let's see if we have a pop-up window here. I imagine that it should take it a while. All right, so the drive was cloned. It still kept its drive letter H, and the computer put up two My Computer icons on the desktop. Probably a weird side effect. It completed after about half an hour. It only had 120 something gigs on it originally. The old drive did. So now it should be all on this. And I did a quick check. Program files were there too. So this is a 1 terabyte Velociraptor. This is the final generation that they produced. I want to say 2013. That might be right. You can check it on it yourself if you want. And it's a 2.5-inch drive that comes mounted in a 3.5-inch adapter. That's one big heat sink. And it works. When this thing is running, the heat definitely comes through this. Has a passive adapter there to go from its SATA ports to the SATA ports on the back here. I'm not sure if the jumpers are actually connected, because there's no jumpers on a drive of this size. So I'm not sure how that works. This is the replacement. The last and finest of the Velociraptor series. I have the first generation in a different computer, my Windows 2000 machine. So this will be replacing this drive over here in this upper slot. And I'll be taking that out. And I'll do a brief tour of the rest of the computer since I have it open. You notice a strange combination of traditional Noctua fans and the black industrial ones. The way I laid this case out initially, and some of it changed, was I wanted standard fans in areas that I determined to be not as essential, and then a couple of the high RPM fans in critical areas. This one would be right underneath the graphics card. This one here would be the main upper exhaust, and this one will be the main rear exhaust. Well, the front two fans, which you can't see, were I ended up using the 3000 RPM version fans, and that's mainly because I originally got them to adapt them to the Noctua cooler here, but I didn't like how the metal attachment was bent to do that, so I switched it. So I have spare standard Noctua fans. Anyway, this is the Noctua NHD15. I'm air cooling an AMD FX9590. It's a 225 watt CPU, or 220. They say air cool only. Well, with this thing, in the airflow that I have set up here, it keeps cool, just fine. I've never seen it hit 60 degrees. I don't even think I've seen it hit 55. My machine does get loud when it's under heavy use. This is the XFX R9 Fury, not the Fury X. It's the cut down a bit Fury, completely air cooled. Let's see if we can see the fans here. It's a large card. It performs pretty well. And then this is the Seasonic 1200 watt Platinum. I originally built this machine hoping to do Crossfire, but decided against it when I didn't have the budget for it. And the way that the slots lay out, I'm pretty sure if I got a second graphics card put in this slot here, which is where it should go, it would hang over to the headers a bit for the USB and whatnot. So delayed that. It's fine with one card, no complaints. My cable management is awful, and well, yes, that's true. I tried to keep it somewhat clean. It could be much worse, but it's not very good, especially down in this area. These are SATA cables and Molex power going to a rear external SATA and power slot, a parallel port and serial port card, which you can see there, and then the back of the graphics card, and then the back of the motherboard. So I will be switching out this hard drive here, And in order to do that, I will have to flip over the case on its feet, move the back panel because that's where the SATA power and data leads are. And I'll do that and we'll see what happens. In case you wanted to know, I do all my editing on a PowerMac G5 Quad. And if you wondered why I haven't put out too many videos, or why it seems to be fairly long intervals between videos, let's take a peek. You see that? This is about a 10-minute video, and I'm rendering it out to QuickTime. Estimated time, 7 hours. Now, it will probably reduce, and that number seems to jump around a bit, but it does take a while. If you look at the CPU usage, it's not completely maxing out. The G5s is about, 3 cores maxed out and then some. But yeah, it takes a while. And in order to play the video back before it's in a video file, so if I want to edit something and then review what I've done, I have to render the whole thing out first, which doesn't take quite this long, but it takes a while. All right, I have the back panel, the back side, the side panel off, the sort of the back side behind the motherboard, and you might find this fan being here a little strange. I'll lift it up. It's on magnets, magnetic mounts, and there is a gap between it and the side panel. The reason it's there is to provide additional cooling to the back side of the motherboard. The FX 9590 is a hot processor, and someone recommended having more airflow back here. So it lines up right around in this area, blowing on the back of the CPU socket. And these panels here, you might not see them very well. These are supports and probably heat spreaders based upon their material for the VRMs. So I have airflow back there as well. This is the back side of the hard drive that's being removed. So you can see the cables are popped in there. Now let's see how much fiddling it takes for me to dig them out. There's one. And there's two. All right, that side is done. All right, this case is the Corsair 750D. I like it because it's a very simple case. I kind of regret not going beige, but whatever. So it comes with these handy dandy drive sleds. And out comes the old drive. Oh, I made a mistake. This isn't a blue. This is a Caviar SE16. This must be older than I thought. All right, now I did initially have, I like to have additional support, so I did originally have a screw in here. I just took it out with my iFixit kit. Anyway, so we just need to pop this out of here. As you can see, these cages, they just have simple nubs where the screw holes go in standard drives, and they're also fitted in with rubber, so there shouldn't be a whole lot of vibration. And it should be a simple matter. Slotting those in on this side. There we go. And stretching plastic a bit. Here we go. And that's a tight enough fit. If I had extra screws, I'd probably give it a little more support, but that's fine. The other drive is unsupported, and it's working out good. All right, that's one side done. This side tends to suck a little bit. Okay, that one's at least in somewhat. Just enough to get lined up. Let's see that one. Oh, okay, that worked out better than last time. In the past, I've had to reach around and hug the machine, essentially, to support them, but those went in pretty nicely. I'll just check the connectors on the lower one in case they got jostled, seal it back up, and fire the machine up. All right, It's time to do the honors and kick the computer back on. This is my old power center. So let's start providing power. Master. Computer. Might have heard the subwoofer kick. Auxiliary for speakers. This monitor is for the secondary monitor because I wanted the primary monitor on a second battery backup. Comes power. So now you know how loud those fans can be when the system is under full power. Old-fashioned BIOS password. See if it starts. Obviously I won't show you the login screen because I'm trying to not put my name out there too much yet. Alright, when I booted into Windows, this is what I was greeted with. The page file was put on my secondary hard drive. That's how I like to do it, for one reason or another. So this other hard drive, since it is a different drive letter, Windows had to put the page file somewhere else. So now we're going to try to rename that other drive, see if we can get it all linked together properly. I do know that Acronis does a very good job of doing that. Let's see if I can get this to do it as well. Alright, now we're in disk management. So I'm going to try to extend the volume. Let's see how far we can go. Select the amount of space. Okay, that should do it. Will that do it? Yes, okay, that did it. Now I need to change the drive letter. Need to make it E, which was the old disk. Because C is the primary hard drive. Since there was no hard drive when I first installed the secondary hard drive, it put the CD drive as D, so the next one will be E. It's warning me that programs that will rely on the drive letters won't run properly, but that's all right because everything on here expects it to be E, as far as I can tell. All right, I don't know why it does that. So now I'm simply going to close out of this disk management and do a check for errors, a full-on error check, do a format, and then hopefully the disk will be up and running again. Check disk always takes a while. So needless to say, I'm going to be doing other things while this is running about. I hope that after check disk and a disk defragmentation, all the programs and everything will link up, just like they do with other programs. Acronis True Image, the only difference it seemed to do when I've used it in the past is it would actually reassign the drive letter and it would shut the computer down when it was done. So once the computer is off, you switch the drives out and then you pick up where you left off. Now this one didn't do that. It's more of a... It almost seems more intended for backups, but we'll see if after all this, with the proper drive letter and everything, that the second hard drive will be useful. I do have programs on there. I have some games. Hopefully I'll be able to launch them. If not, I'll switch back to the other hard drive and probably get a copy of Acronis or something. Alright, so the error check went through, defragment was completed, and you'll notice that the second hard drive, which used to have almost 500 gigs worth of space taken up, because that's how large the other drive used to be, even though most of it was empty, has now shrunk down to the proper size. And so now there's two hard drives there. My goal is to move a couple of my large games from C to E. Those would include War Thunder, World of Tanks, and World of Warships. They're fairly large games compared to what I'm running. Most of my other games run on CD. So I guess the only real way to test and see if everything lined up properly are to, I don't know, I think games are the most finicky thing to try to work with, because all my files seem to be fine. So let's try a couple of games that don't run on CD that are on the E drive. So I know Unreal Tournament is. Yep, Unreal Tournament Game of the Year Edition. I have a CD of it. All right, so that's working. Quit out of that. Unreal Tournament, the music seems to stay on a while. And we'll try Dawn of War. We'll try Dawn of War. That one is also on the E drive. Well, it looks like we have success. Truth is subjective. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. This is probably one of the few Dawn of War quotes that I disagree with. Anywho, thank you for joining me on this. It looks like Macframe Reflect is a good program. And now I have 2 terabytes of storage in Velociraptors.